For 25 years, I lived my life. Then, 31 days ago, I woke up. I woke up and realized I was the best friend, the second choice, the guy who's been by the blind heiress's side since we were kids, destined to be the backup. She's been counting the days until her sight is restored, promising that the first person she wants to see is me. She even swore she'd marry me. But I know better. It's a fantasy. I'm just a supporting character. The moment she sees the light, she'll be drawn to the story's real hero, the one who shines like the sun. Then she'll drop me, cast me aside like a worn-out shoe. My name is Ethan Cole, and I have existed in this story for 9,230 days. A month ago, I believed this world was my own, built from my own choices. Then a strange email landed in my inbox, a lightning strike that shattered the calm. Attached was a novel titled The Light in Your Eyes. At first, I dismissed it as spam, another algorithm-pushed ad. But later, bored, I opened it. The shock was electric. The story it described was, detail for detail, the life I was living. I wasn't a person. I was a plot device. The loyal best friend who spends his life paving the way for the main characters. The title, The Light in Your Eyes, was cheesy as hell, but the contents were devastatingly real. The hero, Leo Vance, was the definition of a golden boy. Heir to the Vance Corporation fortune, charismatic, a virtuoso on the piano and violin, a singer with a voice like warm honey. A music major, of course. His smile was described as a ray of sunshine on a winter day, healing, irresistible. He'd gone to private international schools his whole life before heading overseas to study at a prestigious conservatory. At 26, he was back. Reading the description, I just stood there stunned. The real Leo Vance was exactly that perfect. He was an extrovert, radiating a positive energy that was almost blinding, like a cloud in a bright blue sky. And me? I was a particle of dust floating in the air, quiet and introverted. We were worlds apart. No girl would ever choose me over him. Claire Kensington would be no exception. And my ending? What fate was written for the loyal best friend? I was supposed to have the honor of taking a knife for the hero during a kidnapping, and then dying. The whole thing felt absurd. I couldn't imagine Claire, the girl I'd spent more than a decade protecting, using me as a human shield to save Leo. Of course, the novel's version of me apparently tried to sabotage their relationship out of jealousy. Reading about this fictional Ethan, I was filled with disbelief. Would I really do that? Hurt Leo, and by extension, hurt the very person I'd always try to protect? Would I become that kind of ugly, twisted person? No, that's not who I am. If Claire could be happy, I was willing to watch from a distance. She was such a good person. I never dared to imagine our bond could be anything more than that of family, of friends. That's right. That's all it is. Her surgery is soon. She'll see again, step back into the spotlight she was born for, surrounded by flowers and a future so bright it would hurt to look at. And when that happens, the person standing next to her should be a sun like Leo, not a shadow like me. All I have to do is stay far away from Claire and Leo. Far, far away. Ethan, what are you doing? Claire's soft voice drifted through the room. She tilted her head, her unfocused eyes aimed in my direction. Just packing your bag for the hospital tomorrow, I said gently, my gaze softening as it landed on her slender frame. Why aren't you sleeping more? She seemed down today. I could feel a quiet sadness radiating from her. What's wrong, Claire? I asked. She slowly sat up on the edge of her bed, her expression a little lost. Her surgery was exactly 1 month from today. I couldn't imagine the storm of emotions she was weathering. Ethan, she began, hesitating. When my eyes are better, will you still be with me like this? A bitter taste filled my mouth. When your eyes are better, you won't need me anymore. But I forced a smile and said, as long as you need me, I'll always be here. I'll always need you. She straightened up and moved toward me, wrapping her arms around my waist in a gentle hug, as if seeking an anchor. I held her fragile form, my own heart a turbulent sea. Claire, to me, she was the moon in the night sky, luminous, perfect in the eyes of the world, the daughter every parent wished they had. I used to foolishly believe that her vulnerability was something she only showed me, that I was her sole pillar of support. But reality had delivered a cruel blow. All of that beautiful vulnerability was ultimately destined for Leo Vance. I was just borrowing a little warmth while the goddess was temporarily in shadow. Ethan, have you been tired lately? You've barely spoken to me. Claire's voice was laced with confusion. Just swamped with my med school rotations. It's a lot to handle. Don't overthink it, I answered after a pause, the words feeling heavy on my tongue. My dear Claire, how could I ever explain the chaos in my mind? This bizarre, novel-scripted life. Where would I even begin? You've suffered enough. I can't bear to add another burden. You have to take care of yourself, Ethan. Being a doctor must be exhausting. I support you, but I don't want you to burn out. She squeezed my hand, her grip tight, unwilling to let go. Or, is it me? Am I making you tired? I know my eyes have been. I've been a burden, always needing you to take care of me. She looked down, her voice tinged with self-reproach. She looked up at me again. You have to keep going. My Ethan is going to be a great doctor someday. She spoke as if it were a fact, but hearing it felt utterly ridiculous. How could I ever think of her as a burden? You're talking nonsense again, I said, my voice soft, just as I had for the past decade whenever she belittled herself. You're amazing. If only she could believe it, truly believe she was enough, without needing me to constantly validate her. Even blind, she never let her studies slip. She'd mastered countless skills, putting in more effort than anyone I knew. As the only child of the Kensington family, she managed the corporate affairs her parents delegated to her with flawless precision. Whether she liked it or not, her parents didn't seem to care. I knew she hated it, but she once told me, Ethan, complaining about not wanting something is a luxury, don't you think? I was born with a head start most people can only dream of. I should be grateful. She was always like that, feeling that because she was born with a silver spoon, she had no right to complain about not wanting it. All I ever wanted was for her to be happy. A brilliant girl, so close to perfect, deserved everything good in this world. I know I'm good, she said quietly, but when I'm standing in front of you, I always feel like I'm not good enough. In the middle of the month, Leo Vance came home. The news dominated the Boston headlines for 3 straight days. I knew the Vance family was influential, but I never expected his return to be such a media spectacle. The fanfare made it painfully clear the world I had believed in was a carefully constructed fiction, a pre-written story, and Leo Vance, the hero, wore a halo of main character energy that no one else could ever hope to touch. Every day, I gritted my teeth and counted down, my heart heavy with the knowledge that my time with Claire was running out. The plot, I knew, was like a train on a fixed track. It couldn't be derailed. Just last night, at the hospital where I'm doing my residency, I watched a little girl in the ICU fail to respond to treatment. I watched her life slip away. It was nothing more than a few throwaway lines the author had scribbled for my character arc, a detail meant to make me jaded, but it resulted in the death of a real, living person. I stood there, helpless, feeling the crushing weight of the narrative, the powerful force that some things simply can't be changed by human will. If this were just a book, the little girl's death might be a sad but acceptable plot point. But this isn't just a book to me. This is the world I've lived in for 25 years. My senses, my emotions, they're all real, deeply rooted here. The author used the death of an innocent to push my character toward becoming cold and resentful, and the injustice of it was an agony I could barely stand. April in Boston was just starting to shed the winter chill, a time of rebirth and new beginnings. Leo Vance returned in this hopeful month. His story began beautifully, and I had no doubt it would end the same way. He and Claire had known each other as children. They were the real childhood sweethearts. I was just the boy the Kensingtons hired to be their daughter's companion. But even a companion, after so long, grows a heart. Even a companion can wake up and realize he doesn't want to be just a companion anymore. I told myself I was lucky. I woke up early enough. Otherwise, I would have become the tragic best friend cliché, and that wouldn't have been good for Claire, for Leo, or for me. Ethan, did you know Leo's back? That night, after a long, exhausting day at the hospital, I dragged my tired body back to the Kensington house. Claire's question stopped me dead in my tracks. That feeling of inevitability washed over me like a cold tide. I'd dodged the headlines all day. I'd hidden from the gossip among my colleagues at the hospital. But back home, I couldn't escape Claire's question. In that moment, I felt a weariness so deep it settled in my bones. After that, Leo and Claire fell back into their old rhythm, as if the years he'd been away were nothing more than a few hours. The reunion of the prince and the princess was always so effortless. They had the same background, the same status, the same interests, the same temperament. It was only natural they'd gravitate toward each other. A bright, genuine smile returned to Claire's face, a smile I hadn't seen in a very long time. Her entire demeanor shifted from its usual quiet melancholy to something sunny and vibrant. When they were together, they never ran out of things to talk about. Music, singing techniques, stories of classical composers, the history of a symphony. Leo told her about his adventures abroad, the friends he'd made. When Claire spoke, her voice was lively and melodic, all traces of her former fragility gone. It was like she was a teenager again, carefree and full of light. They had always been like that, even as kids, with an endless supply of conversation. In everyone's eyes, they were the perfect match, the golden couple. Both loved music. Leo had chased his dream, while Claire had given hers up for family duty. In a way, Leo was living her dream for her. He understood her, and she understood him. It seemed only with Leo could Claire be truly, completely happy, both in body and soul. Ethan, I'm so happy Leo's back. Aren't you happy? Oh, Claire, your honesty is a knife in my heart. I knew that being around people who made her happy was better for her recovery. So I made a quiet decision. I would stay out of their way. In the days that followed, Leo was with Claire from morning till night, and I saw a better, brighter Claire than I had seen in years. If she was better off without me, then I could leave. I could watch from distance and wish her well. Fading out of her life was an agony. My entire existence felt intertwined with hers. Now I couldn't be by her side, couldn't listen to her gentle voice, couldn't see her soft, vulnerable face. I couldn't hold her hand, or eat with her, or even just watch her unfocused eyes. All these things I couldn't do left me feeling hollowed out, unable to eat or sleep properly. I knew I was the only one suffering. The other protagonist of this story, Claire, had someone far more suitable by her side now. Ethan Cole, are you spacing out again? Chloe Davis, another resident, waved a pen in front of my face. Huh? Oh, nothing. Just tired. I managed, forcing a weak smile. Chloe set her pen down, adjusted her white coat, and plopped in a chair across from me. She shoved her hands in her pockets and sighed dramatically. You're tired. I'm tired. Man, being a doctor is rough. Seriously, Ethan, I don't know how you do it. You never complain. You're always on top of your game. I'm a total mess. Chloe was a classmate from med school. She was outgoing and cheerful, the kind of person who could light up a room. I hadn't paid much attention to how the novel described her. Don't say that. We both signed up for this, right? I chuckled, putting down the chart I was writing and sitting up straight. Chloe was actually a brilliant doctor in the making. Top of our class, and during our residency, she was proving to be sharp and capable. Nothing like the mess she claimed to be. I had a feeling she was just trying to cheer me up. Ha ha. Right, we signed up for this. So, Ethan, why do you want to be a doctor, anyway? She asked, her tone casual and friendly. In that instant, I was struck by how nice this felt, a simple, easy conversation. I wondered if this was how Claire felt when she talked to Leo, or maybe even better. After all, Chloe and I were just colleagues, friends. It was nothing compared to the deep, soulmate connection Claire and Leo shared. I have a deep sense of compassion and want to save the world, obviously, I joked, though there was a kernel of truth to it. Of course, my original, selfish reason was to cure Claire's eyes. A childish dream from when I first chose this path. My reasons had evolved since then, but that was where it started. I believe it. From a first-year med school, I knew you were different. You've got that chosen one vibe, Ethan Cole. You're destined to be a legendary physician, the kind they only see once a century. Chloe took a swig of water, stood up, and grinned. Me too. We have the same noble calling. We're kindred spirits. She grabbed my hand and shook it vigorously, as if sealing a pact. I couldn't help but laugh at her antics. It had been so long since anyone had made me laugh so freely. It was true what they say. A friend who gets you can really lift your spirits. I laughed and clapped her on the shoulder. You're right, one of a kind. A kindred spirit. Now, my kindred spirit, how about you go do rounds? I'm heading out. With that, I quickly shed my white coat, threw on my jacket, grabbed my canvas bag, put on my mask, and hurried out of the office. I shot one last laugh back at Chloe as I left. I was in such a rush that I didn't see her stunned, speechless expression at being stuck with my work. And I didn't see Claire, standing silently in the corner, her face etched with sorrow. I escaped the frantic pace of the hospital and jumped on the T. The rumble of the train blurred into a low hum, and I drifted off. When I woke, it was my stop. I stretched my stiff arms, rubbed my numb shoulder, and started the slow walk back to my apartment. The apartment was pitch black when I got home, but I sensed someone was inside. Then, a lamp clicked on. I jumped back, my hand flying to the doorknob, a cold sweat breaking out on my skin. Ethan, I'm sorry. I came without asking. Am I bothering you? Claire's familiar voice cut through the darkness. The tension drained out of me. I turned back, letting out a long breath, chiding myself for being so paranoid. I didn't answer right away. I walked to the counter, poured a glass of water, and took slow sips, trying to calm my racing heart. Ethan, I called you, but you didn't answer. I texted, but you didn't reply. I didn't know what else to do, so I came here, she said, her voice thick with a hurt that sounded like an accusation. Is work at the hospital so busy you don't have time for me anymore? She reached out and took my hand, giving it a little shake. I was speechless. What was I supposed to say? I've been intentionally ignoring you? I was shocked she was even here, that she even cared whether I'd been in touch. And why hadn't I gotten any calls or texts from her? Work has been crazy, princess. I have a life of my own, I said, gently pulling my hand away. My tone was as neutral as I could make it. As I spoke, I instinctively scrolled through my contacts. And then it hit me. In a moment of weakness a few days ago, trying to suppress the urge to contact her, I'd blocked her number. A wave of complex emotions washed over me. I walked over to the couch and sank into it, not wanting to face her. Just looking at her felt like a sharp jab to the heart. I don't know how long we sat there, me on the couch, her standing in the middle of the room. The silence was heavy, a suffocating blanket of unspoken feelings. Finally, she broke it with a question that twisted my gut. Ethan, do you not want me anymore? You came to the Kensington house when you were 8, Ethan. Only 2 years older than me. But even then, you took care of me in 1,000 small ways. You always protected me, in your own quiet way. You used to joke that you were the knight sworn to protect the princess. Even though I didn't always need protecting, with you, I couldn't help but want to be close, to let you hold me. I wasn't born blind, I'd only lost my sight for 2 months when I met you. Ethan, I've been blind for 17 years. I don't even remember what I look like anymore. But I remember people used to say I was pretty. I went to your department today. I'm sorry. I just missed you so much. I heard them say that Dr. Davis is the prettiest doctor there. Ethan, I don't know if I'm as pretty as her. Is that why you don't want me anymore? Because I'm not pretty enough? I sat on the couch, listening to her pour her heart out, watching as her eyes grew red and tears finally streamed down her face. In that moment, I felt like the worst person in the world. I've never been good at reading people. I couldn't understand why Claire would think any of this, why she would say these things. Why was she comparing her looks to anyone, let alone Chloe? I was completely lost, but I knew one thing for sure. I loved Claire Kensington, and I couldn't stand to see her cry. The second a tear fell, all I wanted to do was hold her. Don't say that. Don't ever say that about yourself. You are beautiful. People have been telling you that your whole life, haven't they? Claire's beauty was a known fact. I could recite 100 different compliments I'd heard about her over the years. I couldn't fathom where this insecurity was coming from. I slowly got up, walked over, and took her hand. Then I pulled her into a tight embrace. She pressed her face against my chest, and I could feel the fabric of my shirt growing damp with her tears. The moment I held her, a part of my soul that had been dormant for weeks flickered back to life. I realized then that I had severely underestimated what Claire meant to me, the space she occupied in my heart, the profound effect she had on me, physically and mentally. Just holding her filled me with a sense of peace and happiness. I would never not want you. Never, I whispered, my own eyes burning. As long as you need me, I will always be by your side, Claire. Please don't ever think that. Hearing my choked-up voice, she looked up and reached out to touch the corner of my eye. So Ethan can cry for me, too? Because I care about you so much, I said with a sad little smile. You called me princess earlier, she said, bringing up the earlier slight like a child. It made me sad. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I won't do it again, I mumbled, feeling guilty. She held my hand tightly, not letting go for a second. I forgive you. Just don't ever do that again. It feels so distant. I don't want to be distant from you, Ethan. Claire was a good person, even with someone new she liked. She hadn't forgotten the person who grew up with her. It was me who had been stubborn and difficult. If we couldn't be lovers, then I would be her best friend for life. For life. The princess's guardian knight. The day after tomorrow was her surgery. Time was flying. Ethan, I've never seen your face, but I bet you're handsome, Claire said, linking her arm through mine and resting her head on my shoulder with a playful smile. Don't get your hopes up. I might be a disappointment. I'm just a normal guy, I joked back after a moment. No matter what you look like, you'll always be the most handsome boy in the world to me. Lately, Claire had been saying things like this, things that sounded a lot like flirting. I'd gotten used to it, but I still didn't understand why. It was all a mystery. She had barely seen Leo Vance recently. I could count their meetings on one hand, a stark contrast to how often they were together when he first got back. I couldn't figure it out. Claire, how come Leo hasn't been around? Curiosity finally got the better of me. He's busy planning his concert. Why, you miss him? She teased, reaching up to playfully mess up my hair. Her comment made no sense. Why would I miss Leo? Though, to be fair, there was a time when Leo and I were actually good friends. For a long time, in fact. But feelings change, and friendships are no exception. While I no longer considered him a friend, I maintained a civil front for Claire's sake. There was something about Leo that made him hard to resent. It was like there was an unbridgeable gap between a prince and a normal person. Leo's concert preparations seemed to be going well. That evening, I heard him on the phone with Claire. Whenever they talked, especially about music, it was like they could go on forever. I don't know if it was the plot or something else, but whenever I saw them together, they seemed to be bathed in a golden light. I called it the halo of kindred spirits. At 10 p.m., I held Claire's hand and walked her to her hospital bed. Claire, get some rest. Close your eyes, don't strain them. Tomorrow is important, and the day after is the surgery. After her private nurse helped her change into a hospital gown, I urged her to lie down. I have to go work, Claire, but I'm in this hospital. My phone will be on, sound all the way up. If you need anything, call or text. I'll hear it. I carefully tucked the blanket around her, repeating my instructions. I know, Ethan. Don't treat me like a child. I can take care of myself, she replied with a smile. Okay. I'm just worried about you, I said, giving her a quick hug. The truth was, I was incredibly nervous for her. I wanted this for her so badly. For her to see again, to see the people she wanted to see, like Leo, to see the world she had longed for. This opportunity was so precious, and I was terrified something would go wrong. Even though I knew the plot, knew she would regain her sight, I couldn't shake the anxiety. Ethan, when I can see again, I want you to be the first person I see. Can you do that? She asked suddenly, grabbing the corner of my shirt. Of course. I promise, I said without hesitation. But I knew. In my heart, I knew. The first person she would see wouldn't be me. It would be Leo Vance. Ethan, you can't leave me. I won't. If you need me, just call. I'm always here, I said, squeezing her hand, hoping to give her some comfort. I didn't understand why she kept thinking I would abandon her, ignore her, leave her. Claire, you have to believe me. I will never, ever leave you. Okay, I believe you. I hurried to my department and quickly changed into my white coat. Just then, Chloe came back from grabbing dinner. Haven't seen you around. Where have you been? I asked. Chloe, with a bagel stuffed in her mouth, turned around and squatted on the floor, devouring it like she hadn't eaten in days. Her usually neat ponytail was coming undone, and the pin clipped to her coat was gone. What happened to you? You look like you've been through a war, I exclaimed. Don't be so dramatic. I was being a good Samaritan, she said, swallowing a huge bite. She took a sip of water to wash it down. Eat slower, you're going to choke, I advised. Luckily, it was just the two of us in the office, or the department head would have lectured her about her unladylike conduct again. So what heroic deed did you perform? I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and picked up a pen to start on my charts. Saved a genius young musician. Seriously, Ethan, do you not read news? She mumbled, her mouth full. Her words sent a chill down my spine. A genius young musician? Saved? Could it be the kidnapping incident from a novel? The one that leads to my death? But according to the plot, that wasn't supposed to happen until after Claire regained her sight. What was going on? A genius young musician? You mean Leo Vance? I asked, putting my pen down. Yeah, that's him. I didn't even realize who it was at first. Just saw someone in trouble, you know? Huh. She was still munching on her bagel, but she pulled out her phone and showed me a news article. Look, read all about my heroic exploits. I read it and felt a wave of relief. It was a false alarm, just a minor incident that I had overlooked in the story. It seemed the plot was still on track. Claire would see again. She would get with Leo. Leo would be kidnapped. And Claire would push me in front of a knife to save him. I would die. Nothing had changed. What was I even hoping for? Hello, Earth to Ethan. Why are you always zoning out? Chloe waved a hand in front of my face. Oh, nothing. That's amazing, Chloe. I said, genuinely happy for her. Then I added, but be careful next time. Don't get yourself hurt. Of course. Hey, how's your friend doing? I heard she was admitted today. Her eyes. She has surgery the day after tomorrow. It's going to be successful, I replied, turning back to my charts. Stop it. You're a charting machine. Chloe yanked the keyboard away, making it impossible for me to type. What are you doing? Give it back, I said, reaching for it, not noticing the figure standing in the corner. All right, I give up. There's someone at the door. I think she's looking for you, Ethan. I stopped struggling and turned. Claire was standing alone in the doorway of the office, holding a thermal lunch container. Remembering my playful banter with Chloe, a mix of guilt and happiness churned inside me as I looked at Claire. Claire, what are you doing here? I told you to stay in bed. I scolded gently, taking her hand to lead her back to her room. I was worried you were hungry. I brought you some food. Don't worry, I know my way around here. I won't bump into anything or get lost, Claire said softly, her movements a little tentative. Chloe Davis, I brought you this banner to thank you. I was about to ask Claire how she was so familiar with my workspace when Leo Vance's voice boomed through the office, cutting me off. Hey, everyone's here, Leo said with a broad smile. Ethan, Claire, what a coincidence. Hey, did you see the news? This hero saved my life, so I came to present her with a banner of gratitude. He casually slung an arm around my shoulder, but his familiarity made me uncomfortable. Hearing his voice, Chloe hurried over, the last bite of her bagel still in her mouth. "Oh, it's you. Thanks, I'll take the banner." Ha ha ha. I thought they might chat for a bit, but Chloe's phone rang. It was the department head. She was gone in a flash. Now, it was just the three of us, and I seemed to be the only one who felt the awkwardness hanging in the air. "Ethan, I haven't had a chance to see you since I got back. How have you been?" Leo asked, his smile as bright as ever, as if I were a long-lost, cherished friend. I had to admit, Leo had a gift for making people feel at ease. Anyone who spent time with him probably felt completely comfortable. That brief, awkward gathering a few days ago changed nothing. Life moved on as scheduled, and today was the day of Claire's surgery. This was the day she and I had been waiting for years. Now that it was here, I felt strangely numb. Even though I knew the outcome, that she would see again, a knot of worry remained lodged in my chest. For more than a decade, I had been by her side, a constant presence through her years of darkness. It felt like I was a part of the chains that bound her. Now that those chains were about to break, was it time for me, the witness to her confinement, to disappear as well? I just didn't understand. What did Claire still need from me? "Ethan, I'm about to go in." Claire's voice trembled slightly. "It's going to be fine. The surgery will be a success. Trust me, Claire," I murmured, trying to soothe her fears. "I'm not worried about whether it will be a success or not, Ethan. I'm scared that, when I can see, you won't be as close to me anymore." Her voice was low. Her eyes weren't red, but I knew she was fighting back a wave of panic. "How could you think that? Don't be silly. You'll be the one who gets tired of me," I added silently. "You'll be the one to push me away. Claire, none of us can escape the script." The doors to the operating room slid shut, and time seemed to stop. I stared at the closed doors, my mind replaying images of Claire, imagining her on the table. Outside the window, the flowers were in full bloom, the trees a vibrant green. I'd been so consumed by my own anxieties lately that I hadn't noticed the beauty of the world around me. Even if it was just a novel, everything in it felt so real. The scent of the flowers, the stubborn weeds pushing through the pavement, the new leaves on the trees, the sunflowers faithfully turning toward the sun. Maybe if I could just escape this messy human drama, escape into the world of plants and animals, I could finally break free from the role of the backup boyfriend and just be Ethan again. As I thought about this, a sense of calm settled over me. Since I knew the ending, knew that Claire would see again, there was no point in worrying. And in that calm, I drifted off to sleep. When I woke up, 4 hours had passed. Claire would be out of surgery in 10 minutes. I paced back and forth in front of the doors, her personal assistant doing the same. The assistant was devoted to Claire, mostly because her job depended on it, I'm sure, but I could see genuine concern in her eyes. It was a sad irony that this paid employee seemed more invested in Claire's surgery than her own parents. The surgery was a complete success. The doors opened, and the lead surgeon walked out, delivering the 6 words we were all waiting for. Even though I knew it was coming, the rush of relief and excitement was overwhelming. I was ecstatic, so incredibly happy for Claire. Even if I was destined to die soon, even if my life was just a sacrifice for her happiness, I couldn't contain my joy. Claire was wheeled to her room, still unconscious from the anesthesia. I sat by her bed, watching her sleep for a long time. I've been feeling so tired lately. Watching her, I drifted off again. When I woke up, it was dark outside. Claire had draped her blanket over me. "You're awake, Ethan," she said, her voice filled with a happy surprise. "I'm so glad to see you're on your way to seeing again, Claire." The surgery was a complete success. I blurted out, wanting to be the one to tell her the good news, even though I knew someone must have already. "I'm so happy to, Ethan. I'll be able to see you soon," she said with a gentle smile. I smiled back, but my heart was heavy. The days flew by. Before I had a chance to cherish the last moments I had with her, the day came for her bandages to be removed. It was today, around 8 in the morning. I had worked the night shift and hadn't slept a wink. At a little after 6, I was already pacing outside her room. Today was the day Claire would get her sight back. It was also the day, according to the novel, that Leo Vance would be kidnapped. I had no idea what was about to happen. In the end, I broke my promise. I wasn't the first person she saw. While her bandages were being removed, I was in an operating room, handing instruments to the chief surgeon. It was a rare learning opportunity one didn't want to miss. But if I'm being honest, it was also an attempt to escape the plot. The future was a terrifying unknown. A clock was ticking in my head. 2 hours later, I finally left the OR. I stripped off my scrubs and ran toward Claire's room, hoping to just catch a glimpse of her, finally able to see. I imagined Leo would be by her side. Her parents, hearing the good news, would have flown back from whatever country they were in. I knew they only ever showed up for the good news. But when I got to her room, I saw Claire sitting alone, a solitary figure. The bandages were still wrapped securely around her eyes. My heart seized. What was going on? Did the surgery fail? I burst into the room. Claire, why haven't they taken the bandages off? Where are your parents? Where's Leo? Why isn't anyone here? Where's the doctor? She grabbed my hand and pressed her face against it, nuzzling it gently. Ethan, I told you, I want you to be the first person I see. They said you were busy. I can wait. I stared at her in disbelief. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. This wasn't in the script. And so, with me by her side, Claire's bandages came off. Leo wasn't there. Her parents weren't there. As her eyes adjusted to the sudden light, she blinked a few times, stunned. Then, she slowly turned her head and looked at me. In that moment, I saw a galaxy of stars shining in her eyes. They were beautiful. She walked straight toward me and threw her arms around me in a tight hug. Ethan, I can finally see you, she said, her voice filled with wonder. She gently touched my face, my nose, my eyes, as if memorizing every feature. Her gaze finally settled on my lips. She looked at them for a long moment, then leaned in and kissed me. I froze. Why was she kissing me? Her kiss was as light as a feather, but it left me breathless. This wasn't her character. This wasn't right. Ethan, I love you, she said, pulling back. She produced a ring from somewhere, her voice urgent and hopeful. I'm whole now. I can give you a future. Will you be with me? Ethan, I don't think I'm any less than Dr. Davis. Whatever she can give you, I can give you now too. Claire's eyes, clear and bright, were locked on mine. Why are you suddenly bringing up Chloe? I asked, stunned. She looked at me for a long moment before dropping her gaze. I went to the hospital to find you more than once. Sometimes I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to hear your voice. And every time I heard you talking with Dr. Davis, the way you sounded when you talked to her, you were so happy, so relaxed. You've never sounded like that with me. Ethan, I know you love medicine. You work so hard for your dream. You and Chloe are the ones who are truly on the same wavelength. You have so much to talk about. You're both doctors. She must understand you in a way I never could. You're so amazing, and when I'm with you, I feel so insecure. I was afraid of being a burden, of holding you back from choosing someone you really like, from pursuing the life you love. But now, she continued, her voice gaining strength, I want to fight for it. I can see now. I'm not some porcelain doll you have to protect every second. I can make you happy, too. I can joke around with you. I can protect you. I stood there, listening to her, completely speechless. I had no idea my actions had been hurting her for so long. I had no idea how little we truly understood. I opened my mouth to say something, then closed it. The words she'd spoken had rocked my entire worldview, my fundamental beliefs about our story. I didn't know what to do. Claire, I finally managed. The first thing I want to say is, please don't ever think the version of you who was blind was incomplete. I've told you so many times how incredible you are, how amazing. Maybe we both feel insecure when we're around each other. Claire, maybe we're both really great people, but when we face each other, we lose our confidence. My relationship with Chloe, is it possible it's similar to your relationship with Leo? Claire's eyes went wide. I knew my words had shocked her. In that moment, we were both shattering the deeply held beliefs the other carried. She looked like she wanted to say something, but instead, she just asked, so, will you wear this ring? She looked at me, her eyes full of hope. I wanted to say yes immediately. This was Claire confessing her love to me, the Claire at Kensington. But what about the plot? No, forget the plot. Just say yes. Two voices were at war inside my head. Claire, you won't believe this. I got kidnapped again. My luck since coming back to the States has been absolute garbage. Before I could make a decision, Leo Vance's voice preceded him into the room. When he burst in, Claire and I were standing less than a foot apart, close enough that it looked like we were about to kiss. Whoa, did you two finally make it official? I had no idea what he was talking about. Leo, what did you just say? You were kidnapped. My attention immediately latched onto the word kidnapped. And no, it wasn't because I was concerned about Leo. Yeah, this is the second time since I've been back. What the hell is my dad paying his security detail for? He almost lost his only son, the idiot. Leo dropped into a nearby chair, fuming. A second later, as if just noticing, he exclaimed, Claire, your eyes are better. They are, she said, smiling at his theatrical display. Then her expression turned serious. Leo, getting kidnapped isn't a joke. You have to be more careful. You were always getting into trouble like this as a kid. When it came to Leo, Claire turned into a worrier. Okay, I know. But, whatever, let's not talk about it. That doctor who saved me last time, Chloe Davis? I ran into her again. She saved me again. This time she took a knife from me. Took a knife? Is she okay? I asked, my voice sharp with alarm. She's fine. Just got out of surgery. I made sure she was settled before I came over, Leo said, looking a little startled by my intensity. This was too close to the novel's plot. Leo's words sent a jolt of panic through me. Claire's ring was still being offered. I didn't know if I should take it, and I didn't know what to say to either of them. My mind blank. I turned and ran out of the room. I ran all the way to Chloe's hospital room. I needed to see her to confirm the details. Only then, maybe could I begin to feel calm. The pre-written laws of this novel had been broken, and I had Chloe Davis to thank for it. That unconventional, free-spirited woman had somehow managed to live her own brilliantly messy life inside a fixed story. She was so real. I sat on a bench outside the hospital, my thoughts drifting. Maybe I was the only one who had been trapped all along. My own insecurities made me doubt myself, made me doubt Claire's feelings for me, and made me a slave to a story I thought was already written. But Chloe's uniqueness, Claire's unwavering feelings for me, Leo's unshakable confidence, they all allowed them to be nothing but themselves. I was the only one who had been living a twisted, conflicted life. Leo, true to form, was bold and passionate. He and Chloe fell in love quickly. A few nights later, Claire found me as I was leaving work. Her smile was as warm as the sun. "Ethan," she said, "can you accept me now?" My heart finally settled. "Yes," I said.